Welcome to this essential guide on the most important articles of the Indian Constitution for UPSC prelims. In this video, we'll break down Articles 12148A and 368, each a cornerstone for understanding Indian polity. Whether you're just starting your preparation or revising, these articles form the backbone of many questions and concepts. We'll cover their basic provisions, key features, landmark cases, and common traps to avoid. Let's begin our journey with Article 1, which lays the foundation for the identity and structure of India as a nation. Article 1 of the Indian Constitution is simple yet profound. It states, India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. This means our country is officially recognized by both names India and Bharat. The term union of states is significant as it emphasizes the unity and indestructibility of the nation. Unlike a loose federation, the Indian Union is strong, and states do not have the right to secede. This foundational article sets the tone for the rest of the Constitution. Common point of confusion is the difference between a union and a federation. The Constitution deliberately uses union of states to highlight a strong central government and an indestructible union. States in India cannot break away or claim independence, which is a key difference from some federations where states have more autonomy. This concept is often tested in exams, so remember, India is a union, not a federation. Article 1 also defines the territory of India. It includes three components: states, union territories, and any acquired territories. This comprehensive definition ensures that all regions under Indian sovereignty are covered. It's important to note that the territory is not limited to just states. Union territories and acquired areas are equally part of the nation. This broad definition is crucial for understanding the administrative structure of India. Further clarify the structure, Articles 2 and 3 are closely linked with Article 1. Article 2 deals with the admission or establishment of new states, while Article 3 covers the formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries, or names of existing states. These provisions give Parliament the flexibility to reorganize the country's internal boundaries as needed, ensuring adaptability and unity. UPSC often tests your understanding with tricky statements. Remember, India is not called a federation of states, the correct term is union of states. Also, the territory of India includes more than just states. Union territories and acquired territories are part of it. States cannot separate from the union, and this indestructibility is a core principle. Watch out for these common traps in the exam. To sum up Article 1, India, also known as Bharat, is a union of states that includes states, union territories, and acquired territories. This article lays the foundation for the country's identity and territorial integrity. It's a basic yet frequently tested concept in UPSC prelims, so keep this definition clear in your mind. Moving on to Article 21, one of the most significant fundamental rights. It states, no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. This means that both citizens and non-citizens are protected from arbitrary actions by the state. The right to life and personal liberty is at the heart of the Constitution's human rights framework. Article 21 is unique because it applies to everyone, citizens and non-citizens alike. It protects both life and personal liberty, and it acts as a shield against arbitrary state action. Over time, the Supreme Court has interpreted this article broadly, making it a living and evolving right. Its scope has expanded far beyond its original wording. Initially, Article 21 was interpreted narrowly. However, landmark cases like Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India changed everything. The Supreme Court ruled that the procedure established by law must be fair, just, and reasonable, not arbitrary. This expanded the protection offered by Article 21, making it a robust safeguard for individual rights. Supreme Court has interpreted life in Article 21 to mean much more than mere animal existence. It now includes the right to live with dignity, the right to privacy, the right to clean environment, the right to livelihood, the right to legal aid, and the right to shelter. This broad interpretation ensures that the right to life is meaningful and comprehensive. A major milestone was the K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, where the Supreme Court declared the right to privacy as a fundamental right under Article 21. This judgment has had far-reaching implications, especially in the digital age where personal data and privacy are constantly at risk. It's a landmark case every aspirant should know. Classic UPSC trap is the difference between procedure established by law and due process of law. The former means following the law as passed by the legislature, while the latter requires the law itself to be fair and reasonable. India originally followed the first, but the Supreme Court's expanded interpretation now closely resembles due process, ensuring greater protection for individuals. For UPSC, remember that Article 21 deals with the right to life and personal liberty. It is not limited to citizens, includes the right to privacy, and is not just about physical survival. The scope is much broader, covering dignity and other essential rights. These distinctions are often tested in statement-based questions. Don't fall for these traps. Article 21 is not limited to animal existence. It's not only for citizens, and it is no longer interpreted narrowly. The Supreme Court's broad approach means that the right to life is dynamic and all-encompassing. Always keep this expanded interpretation in mind during your preparation. In summary, Article 21 stands for life, personal liberty, dignity, and privacy, all interpreted broadly by the Supreme Court. It is the most important fundamental rights article and is highly probable in UPSC prelims. Make sure you understand its wide scope and the landmark cases associated with it. Article 48A directs the state to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. This article is part of the Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSB, which means it guides the government but cannot be directly enforced in court. Its inclusion reflects the growing importance of environmental protection in India's policy framework. Article 48A is a directive principle, meaning it is non-justiciable. This means you cannot go to court to enforce it directly. However, it serves as a guiding principle for the state in making laws and policies. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act added this article along with fundamental duties to strengthen the environmental framework. Main objectives of Article 48A are to protect the environment, conserve forests, and safeguard wildlife. These goals are crucial for sustainable development and ecological balance. The article lays the foundation for various environmental laws and policies in India, ensuring that environmental protection remains a priority for the state. Article 48A is closely linked to Article 51AG, which makes it a duty of every citizen to protect the environment and show compassion to living creatures. While Article 48A directs the state, Article 51AG places responsibility on individuals. Together, they create a comprehensive framework for environmental protection in India. Article 48A forms the basis for many environmental laws, policies, and regulations in India. It also helps courts expand the right to a clean environment under Article 21. This synergy between fundamental rights and directive principles strengthens India's commitment to environmental protection. For UPSC, remember that Article 48A deals with the protection of the environment. It is part of the DPSB, not fundamental rights, and was added by the 42nd Amendment. These facts are frequently tested, so keep them at your fingertips during revision. Don't get confused, Article 48A is not enforceable in court. It is not a fundamental right and it applies to the state, not directly to citizens. Citizens' responsibilities are covered under Article 51AG. These distinctions are important for answering tricky exam questions. To revise, Article 48A is a DPSB that directs the state to protect the environment, forests, and wildlife. It's often linked with Article 21 and fundamental duties, making it a high-probability topic for UPSC prelims. Remember its non-justiciable nature and its role in shaping environmental policy. Article 368 deals with the procedure for amending the Constitution. It gives Parliament the power to amend any part of the Constitution, including fundamental rights and DPSBs. However, this power is not absolute and is subject to important limitations, which we'll discuss next. There are three types of amendments in India: simple majority, special majority, and special majority plus state ratification. Simple majority amendments are not strictly under Article 368 and usually deal with less critical matters like citizenship or state formation. Special majority is required for most constitutional amendments, while some federal provisions need both special majority and approval from half the states. The amendment process involves several steps. A bill is introduced in either House of Parliament, passed by the required majority, and then sent to the President. The President must give assent and cannot veto the amendment. This ensures that the process is democratic and transparent. Parliament's power to amend the Constitution is limited by the Basic Structure Doctrine. This means that certain core features, like the supremacy of the Constitution, democracy, federalism, judicial review, and secularism, cannot be altered. The landmark Kesavananda Bharati case established this principle, ensuring that the Constitution's fundamental identity remains intact. The basic structure of the Constitution includes essential principles like the supremacy of the Constitution, democracy, federalism, judicial review, and secularism. These elements form the core of the Constitution and cannot be amended or destroyed by Parliament. This doctrine acts as a safeguard against arbitrary changes. For UPSC, remember that Article 368 deals with the amendment procedure. Parliament cannot amend the entire Constitution if it affects the basic structure. The President cannot veto amendments, and not all amendments require state ratification. Special majority is a must for most amendments. These points are frequently tested in exams. Avoid these traps. The President has no veto over constitutional amendments. Not all amendments need state ratification, and Parliament's power is limited by the basic structure. These are common pitfalls in statement-based questions, so keep them in mind during your preparation. To sum up, Article 368 gives Parliament the power to amend the Constitution, but this power is limited by the Basic Structure Doctrine. It's a core polity concept and is frequently asked in UPSC prelims. Make sure you understand the amendment process, types of majority, and the significance of the basic structure. You've covered the most important constitutional articles for UPSC prelims: Article 1, Union of States; Article 21, Right to Life; Article 48A, Environmental Protection; and Article 368, Amendment Procedure. Focus on their basic provisions, key features, landmark cases, and common traps. With these concepts clear, you'll be well prepared to tackle polity questions in the exam. Good luck with your preparation.